Hello, 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 and welcome to another amazing episode of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. Tonight we have a special Sunday episode. We have Miss Joy Lewis with us tonight. She is the creator of the Christian Literary Awards, and I am so excited. Welcome, 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 Miss Joy Lewis.
Well, hello, and thank you so much, so very much. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I am happy for you to be here tonight. I had the pleasure of meeting Miss Joy. I think it's been what, maybe 2 weeks ago now.
Yes,
About two
two
weeks
weeks.
ago, and we met at a Books and Burgers event that was by the Metro Authors Group, and
Right.
we had a very heartfelt moment, and I just thought I like this lady. I want to know more about her, and she told me about the Christian Literary Awards as well as Michael Gwynn told me about it. He's going to be the MC for her event. And I was just like, okay, I've got to get in that. I've got to be a part of that. So thank you, Miss Joy. You literally you were working, 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 but you took the time to come over and talk to the newbie. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, you're more than welcome. I can't thank you enough for this opportunity. It was definitely my pleasure to meet you. I'm excited about you, what you're doing, how you're having such a great impact in the lives of new authors and just in the lives of people, period. You're doing wonderful works.
Thank you, Miss Joy. Okay, we're going to get started here. We have so much information to cover tonight. Miss Joy is doing some amazing things. She not only has the Christian Literary Awards, but she also has a radio show, the Review with Joy and Company radio show. And so we're going to talk about that as well. And we're going to get to know Miss Joy, the lady behind all of these great accomplishments that she has. Now, Miss Joy, the very first question that I ask all of my guests is please, Miss Joy Lewis, tell us who is Joy?
Whoa, that you do know that is a loaded question, right?
Right.
Well, actually, I'm not a very complicated person at all. And I am Joy Lewis is a wonderfully proud aunt of 64 nieces and nephews.
Wow.
And I've got about 10 bonus nieces and nephews to add to that also. So it's about
Wow.
73, 74 total. And my nieces and nephews, anyone who knows me knows that I enjoy being an aunt, a great aunt, and a great great aunt. So that
Oh,
those
wow.
numbers span across 3 generations, and it gives
Okay.
my heart, a lot of joy to think about and to actually spend time with my nieces and nephews. So that's one big thing about Joy Lewis.
That is
Is that I
amazing.
do enjoy my siblings' children. The other thing is that I have been an avid reader since I was a toddler. I've always loved to read. And at a very young age, I found adventure, excitement, and probably a little bit of escape through my reading. As I read works of fiction, I grew up in a time where political activists were really big in writing, and I read a lot of their works. It reading just opened a whole new world for me at a very young age, and I've always been addicted to books.
Oh, that's good. That is really good. I started later, in college. In college, I used to write songs and poetry, but I wasn't really trying to read any. I was doing the writing part, but not the reading part. But when I got into college, is when I kind of started getting into books, and I made a point, Miss Joy, to start my boys much earlier than I started myself.
Good, good,
Yeah,
because when you start reading to your children from your womb as a mother, you have not started too soon.
yeah.
They miraculously absorb while they are actually still in the womb. And
Yeah.
so studies, research, and just mothers in general can attest to that, that reading to their children while they're in the womb definitely has an impact on their lives. So you
Oh
never
yeah.
can start too soon.
Definitely. And I was, as you were talking, I was thinking about how they say it's so important to talk to your, babies when they're wrong. So that just goes even further, that reading and pouring into their lives in all aspects, is really important. Nobody, I don't know if very many people really think about that, but that is something amazing. And we have so many younger children now, especially in this generation now. They're doing things much faster once they're here now. Have you saw
Oh, yes,
seen? Yeah.
yes, yes. I mentioned that my large number of nieces and nephews span across three generations, right?
Right.
Well, I can see the difference in the advancements from generation to generation. And I look at my great nieces and my great great nieces and nephews, they're toddlers now. And they're just different from their
Mm.
grandparents, who are actually my first set of nieces and nephews. So
Right.
I was not blessed to have to give birth on to myself, but like I said, I've just
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoyed and been involved in the lives of my nieces and nephews, and I have a lot to cover, and it's a lot of birthdays to remember.
Oh yeah. It sounds like it. It sounds like it. Well, let's kind of start a little bit with you, and let's kind of get to know you a little bit. So what did family look like for you growing up, Miss Joy?
Oh, family growing up was interesting. I was the seventh child of eight. My parents had four girls and four boys.
Okay.
I was definitely unequivocally a daddy's girl. So my dad could do no wrong. And I'm sure my older brothers and sisters and my mother would beg to differ, but in my eyes, he did no wrong. And so I loved I grew up in a very rural town in Boutte, Louisiana, which is about 20
Okay.
minutes west of New Orleans. So I
Okay.
am
Okay.
very much a Southern girl. And I just recently came back to the Dallas area a few hours ago from visiting a brother and in Huntsville, Alabama. And when I awoke this morning, she had coffee ready for me. And I was so tickled because I had to tell her I just love Southern girls, because she tempered my coffee cup. And a lot of
Oh,
people don't even know what that is.
right.
But when I reached for my coffee cup, it was very, very hot, and she'd already tempered it, and meaning she warmed that cup up before I was able to pour my coffee. So I had a long, lingering cup of coffee. So that's a good pleasure.
Oh, yeah, I would have
um,
never thought of that. So that now you got me. I'm gonna have to try that now because I don't like my coffee. Sometimes I'm doing so many other things in between drinking it. So now you have just introduced me to something.
wow.
Okay. I don't know. We gotta
Yes,
say I
and
might have to take a poll to see if many people know about this, Miss Joy.
they
I
probably
don't
don't, but it is definitely a Southern tradition of tempering that cup. And
know.
if
Uh-huh.
you watch the movie about the gentleman who was a butler, I think the name of the movie was The Butler, and he
Butler.
was a
Uh-huh.
butler for several presidents.
Yeah.
Toward the end, when the main character's, the butler's wife, was right before she passed away, they were sharing a morning cup of coffee, and he tempered her cup, and it was
Oh.
just a beautiful moment in the story. Yeah, so it's definitely a Southern tradition, and I felt so cool this morning when my sister-in-law had done that for me. I
I like
like
that.
animals. I grew up not on a farm by far, but my dad had animals. So, I grew up with chickens and goats. For a long time, we had a horse, and the horse gave birth. So we had a horse and the horse's pony,
Okay.
dogs, no cats. We didn't really do cats, but
That's
yeah, I grew up around a lot of animals and just, family picnics, celebrating every holiday. My mother was
yeah.
a stickler for decorating and celebrating the holidays with just having family come by. And it's
Um,
amazing that I get to this point because that is part of the name of the radio show. Our
oh,
organization is Joy and Company. So
yes.
I grew up in a time where people expected company to come over. And
Mhm.
my mother, if she dropped her dish towel while she was doing the dishes or cooking and cleaning, if she dropped her dish towel, that meant we were having company. And if the dish towel made it to the floor, that meant somebody special was coming. And she would pull out the silver. We were polishing silver, waxing
Mhm.
hardwood floors on our knees because we're having company. And my dad would
Yeah.
be like, "Well, who's coming?" We would be like, "Who's? I don't know. I don't know." But I dropped that towel 3 times this week. So somebody's coming. And she would
Yeah.
bake and have stuff coming. And sure enough, come Saturday or Sunday afternoon, we had company. So, well,
Wow.
also, when I was like a teenager, I used to tutor students as a teenager,
Mhm.
and they would come over to the house. And
Mhm.
my mother would be like, my dad told my mother at one point, those boys coming over here are not coming over here for Joy to tutor them. So you need to have a talk with Joy. So my mom would tell me, Joy, I need you to mind the company you keep. And she would just tell me that. She wouldn't tell me anything else. I just
Yeah.
need you to mind the
Yeah.
company you keep.
Man, the
And
company
so
keep.
when we started a book club 22 years ago, I started a book club with my dear friend who is hosting the radio show with me to this day. We
Oh,
named
wow.
it The Review with Joy and Company because I was going to invite company to come over and review books with me.
Oh, that was nice. I
every
like
now
that.
every now and then on the show, I tell everybody
Having some technical difficulties. Okay, we are having a few technical difficulties. Miss Joy will be back shortly. We are here promoting the Literary Christian Awards. And Miss Joy also has a radio show called The Review with Joy and Company, which she was just talking about. Miss Joy runs that radio show with one of her childhood friends after all these years. So that is amazing. All right. So we've got a comment. Hello, Miss Anita. How are you? Good for you to join us tonight. Again, we are talking tonight with Miss Joy Lewis, the creator of the Christian Literary Awards. She is going to be talking tonight about the vision behind the award show, how to get your books um, or your creations entered in. They do fiction and nonfiction Christian works. The deadline for the submissions are January the 31st. And if you will look in the information section for this interview tonight, there is the website for you to go on and to register. And that is the Joy and Company website where you can go in and submit your books. if you have some book submissions, all the rules and regulations. The award show itself will be April the 12th, 2025, and it will be an amazing red carpet event. I will be there. I'm just so excited about it. This will be my first time attending an award show, and so I'm just so happy. I have two books that have been submitted for nomination, and that is my very first book, The Woman at the Well, and also my book that was just published, um, my anthology that was just published is the second book that will be entered into the Christian Literary Awards. And we've got Miss Joy back. I was just letting everyone know which books of mine that I am putting into the award show. And I'm just so excited about this opportunity. Um, yes, ma'am. So you were talking about your radio show, and
Yes.
we were talking about the fact that you and your friend, your childhood friend, were running the show, and I mean that just relationship, for these years, that is amazing. Now I'm going to be coming on your radio show soon, and I'm excited about that. Tell us a little bit about the radio show, a little bit more information.
Well, the radio show started, probably 9 years ago, maybe 10 years now. We've been doing the radio show. Um, and when an author enters their book into the Christian Literary Awards, they send us copies of their books, and we are a team of three ladies, a trio. We read the book from cover to cover. We don't ask you to come and give us a 10-minute blurb about or a synopsis about your book. We actually read the books from cover to cover, and we devote the entire radio show, which is about a 50-minute radio show, to a warm-hearted discussion about your book. And we give our audience an opportunity to get to know you, the author, and to understand and know your heartbeat, your why behind writing this book. So there it becomes an opportunity for you to connect with a very broad audience. It is streamed live from Fishbowl Radio Studios and the Fishbowl Studio Network in Bedford, Texas. Authors can come in studio, and many authors, we have authors from all over the country and outside of the country also. We are an international organization. So authors who are not able to make it to this fair city of Bedford, Texas, that we Skype them in, and we give if I must say so myself, a very thorough and beautiful review of the book and the why behind the book. And like anything
Right,
else, just like we're doing tonight, one
right,
train of thought leads to the next train of thought, which invites very provoking conversation. And we have
right.
audience participation. Sometimes we're speaking and getting so involved in the book that the audience is saying, how do I purchase the book? I'm purchasing the book right now. And that is our
Right.
ultimate goal, to promote and support authors of faith-based literature.
That is a blessing. That is a blessing. I am, well, I was telling you a little bit about my story, and, a lot of times with, you all accept fiction and nonfiction. I saw that. And then I was looking at the
Yes.
qualifications as far as it being, biblically sound. And I was thinking when I wrote my very first book, the Lord inspired me to write The Woman at the Well. And I
Oh,
remember thinking, I remember thinking, "Ooh, I don't want to talk about some of the stuff that's happened in life, right?" But then when you flip it on the ministry side, that's what books do. Books minister to people. They tell stories that when you are open and transparent and you use the word of God, you are able to shape and transform people's lives. And I think,
Yes,
Miss Joy, that's the part about Christian literature that I love the most. It's ministry in a book, because so often we don't necessarily, we talk to people in face to face, but books can go places we may never go.
exactly,
And
exactly.
and I love that. I love that.
Yes.
So I am so honored and just excited about this opportunity that you created this award platform, to be able, to be able to enter Christian works, because in some other award, shows, the Christian section is, very small. um, but for you to have taken the time, I just want to kind of know, what was your story? What inspired you to create specifically this Christian Literary Award show?
Well, 14 years ago, I was at a very large book conference in Houston, Texas. And there were authors from all over the place. We were at a large hotel downtown Houston, Texas, and the hotel was filled with authors, writers, publishers, readers, and more readers, book clubs, everybody who thought they had an interest in books was, it was, and there was a very huge ballroom filled with authors and their books on display. And in the
Mm-hmm.
very back, in the far right corner, there were about 5 tables that nobody was visiting. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were just separate and apart. And I wiggled
Mm-hmm.
my way back because I wanted to put my hand on every book on each table. And they were all Christian authors. And all of a
Mm.
sudden, I felt convicted that there was over 300 tables in that room with authors on
Yeah.
display with their books. And
Yeah.
there was just 5 authors in the back that were promoting their books on a Christian platform.
Right.
So I just felt, and nobody was visiting the tables. I felt compelled to buy a
Mhm.
book from each table.
Yeah.
And then at toward the end that evening after the banquet, the main attraction, the main author who was the speaker at the ball, that the big dinner, he was out in the lobby signing books. So everybody was rushing to him. And mind you, this was 14, 15 years ago. And the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, let me go see if he's single. I better
Hey, I
touch
get
up
it,
my
Miss Joy. I
lipstick.
get it. I get it.
I am with the crowd, making sure my lipstick is right and patting my hair in the right places because I want to
Yes.
get to this single author. So the closer I got to him, though, I began feeling very nauseated and sick. By the
Mm.
time I got to the top, close to him to get the book autographed, I was faint. And my
Mm.
trusted friend who was with me that night, who does the radio show with me, she was like, "Oh, we need to get you to a hospital," because she could see that I was just turning colors almost. And so I was like, "No, I just need to get back to the room." Well, when I got back to the room, I realized that this famed author that was drawing such a big crowd and so much attention, who I was double patting my lipstick for, wrote pornography.
Jesus.
And
Mm.
I was really taken by that. That really affected me. I
Yeah.
went to my room, to the room, and I'm certain I fell asleep, but I actually had a dream. I dreamed the Christian Literary Awards.
Jesus.
I
Yeah.
saw it plain as day, and I knew when I woke up, I
Yeah.
knew that God wanted me to do this.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I actually while I was at that conference, one night was sharing the dinner table, and I shared my vision that I had. I shared my experience at the dinner table, and one of the gentlemen at the table told me that he would be a supporter and he would help me to do this financially, but I had to change the name because people were tired of everything Christian. And they didn't people didn't have any trust, and nobody is buying into anything with the label of Christian on it. And if I change the
Mm-mm.
name to maybe the inspirational awards, he could get me all the backing that I needed. So I told him
Yeah.
I'd think about it. And
Mm-hmm.
not that I really knew that I had to think about it.
Right.
Because I remembered my mother telling me once when I was a teenager to dance with the one who brought me. I know that's not the best English in the world, but that's the
I
way it
get it.
came out in our conversation. You dance with whoever brought you to that ball. That's who you dance with.
Yeah.
So the next morning at breakfast, I explained to the gentleman how I appreciated his offer, but I think I'm going to dance with the one who brought me, and that would be Jesus Christ. And we
Amen.
identify with him
Amen.
when we identify with
Right.
Christianity. And
Right.
so it's important to me. God gave it to me, and
Yeah.
he and I have been dancing with this thing for 13 years.
Yes.
In 2025, it will be our 13th annual, and it would be 14th had it not been for COVID. Of course, we had to
COVID.
skip
Yeah.
a year that year, but so we're celebrating our 13th anniversary in April of 2025. So I'm still dancing with that wonderful gentleman.
Yeah. That is a blessing. That is a blessing. And technically, it is your 14th year. Even if you didn't have an event, it was already created. So you technically, it
Yes,
is your
yes,
14th year. So congratulations.
and
I love that.
thank you. Thank you. And you know, you mentioned the fiction and nonfiction, but we open it up to so many categories. One year, I think we had 19 categories, but
Oh wow.
we accept books in poetry, book, youth, young I'm showing that we're still on. And so basically, Bible studies, whatever
Mm-hmm.
category books we get in on a given year, those are the categories that we present at the Christian Little Awards.
I love it. I love it. So if you are watching tonight, you have heard it here. Christian Literary Awards are accepting submissions. You have all the way from now until January the 31st, 2015 to make those subscriptions and submissions. I don't know what's wrong with me. Submissions. And we also have the link in the notes section of the event tonight where you can definitely reach out to Miss Joy as well. In the description of the event, it has the contact information and the website as well. So do not delay. If you have any Christian works, as we said before, and I didn't even know the story behind her creating the award show, but I know that it would definitely have been a narrow category for Christian works. But I thank you for standing, for standing and knowing that, we can't take Christ out of Christian literature. And so, I have
No,
learned very quickly, Miss Joy, all money is not good money, and all connections are not good connections. And so, when we stand in faith to do the things that the Lord has called us to do, we have to be really discerning about connections and things of that sort. So, I salute you for standing firm in your faith with what you knew the Lord had told you to do. Um, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the promotion and participation What did that look like for the last few years as far as the promotion and the participation, Miss Joy? Okay, she will be back here in just a moment. She's having a connection issue. Miss Candy said that part. I love this. Yes, this is so nice to be able to have a Christian literary award show that we can put our publications in and they actually have recognition and not just five tables at the back of the room, as Miss Joy stated. And so I want to, again, I am honored that my book, The Woman at the Well, is one of the nominations, as well as my new collaboration anthology, The Crazy Girl in My Head Has to Go, with myself and 13 other amazing women. We all collectively, Black women, white women, Hispanic women, we all came together telling the same story, that there was a crazy girl in our head, that a crazy girl in our head lived. She was the unhealed version of us, the one that, ran from blessings and kept us in situations longer than we should have been in because it was uncomfortable. Love was uncomfortable, healing was uncomfortable. And so that anthology, The Crazy Girl in My Head Has to Go, has been doing amazing. And those are the two books that I have submitted, and I just know it's going to be a blessing. I was telling everyone the second book that I submitted, Miss Joy, is The Crazy Girl in My Head Has to Go. And it's an anthology with 14 women, 13 women other than myself. And we talk about all the stuff. The unhealed little girl is pretty much what it is. The
Yes.
unhealed little girl that's within us, that kept us from the blessings of God. She's the one who told us to choose the drug dealer, to choose the abuser versus the boy at church that didn't talk, or she's the one that told us to run from love because it was uncomfortable. But once we got a revelation through the Holy Spirit, that we deserve things, then we're able to see ourselves differently. We had to kick that crazy girl out because she was going to keep us bound.
Well, unfortunately, Stephanie, too many of us
Yeah.
have had conversations and play dates with that crazy girl. But I
Yes.
think when we do things like tell our stories
Yes.
and our stories out there,
Hmm.
we are preventing those who are coming behind us from
Yeah,
even entertaining that crazy girl.
that's right. And
Yes,
that's, go ahead.
no, I was just saying it's about empowering those who are coming up next to us.
Yes, that's why I love books and literature and poems, any form of literature. That's why I love it so much, because sometimes you don't have necessarily the courage to say it out loud, but you can
Yes.
write it in a book and you're still going to be able to impact lives. I remember when I wrote my first book, Joy, I talked about it, a lot of the things that had happened in my life, but I couldn't speak about myself, so I wrote it in the context of a character. And as time has went on, most recently wrote my first book with a co-author, where we were talking about childhood abuse. And it was the first time after 12, 13 books that I finally said, I, Miss Joy. I
Wow.
finally said I. And so the power of being able to write, you know, books, I really feel like when I started writing, Miss Joy, I
Yes.
didn't have to see my therapist anymore.
I can believe that.
It saved me $70 a session, okay?
I love it. I love it.
Yes, I started putting it in the books. And through that, the Lord gave me this platform, healing, empowerment, transformation. But I, he did it to where I'm not just telling the stories to heal other people, I'm still healing myself. Do you find that to be the case for you too, Miss Joy, through writing?
Well, Writing and reading for me. I love to write. I am a ghostwriter and have been for a few years now, but I've
Mhm.
always written short stories under my name. I am not published. Well, I've written for a magazine for a couple of years. So,
Okay.
but still under my name, I have not published. But um, I love writing because it is an outlet that allows you to be
Yes.
as vulnerable as you
Yes.
need to
Ooh,
be, even when you
yes.
are in the safety confines of a therapist. Sometimes you withhold because you go through embarrassment,
Mhm.
shame. Do I
Yes.
want this person to know this about me? There's a
Yeah.
part of you that still tries to control how much you let go. But
Yes.
when you're writing and it's
Yes.
you and the pencil and
Mm,
paper on
mm,
the
mm.
keyboard and your device,
Yes.
it's you and God.
Woo!
And be as vulnerable as you
Yeah.
need to be to
Yes.
get healed.
Oh my God. I almost shouted, Miss Joy.
It is amazing the things that come out on that are revealed on the
Yes.
radio show, because as my team and I read your books, the Holy Spirit is constantly ministering to us through your writing. We've
Yeah.
had authors who've sat on our platform and cried because they weren't fully healed. And
Yes.
one word I would say, allow the healing process to become complete in your life.
Yeah.
And complete may be too strong of a word, because we're ever evolving.
Right. Right.
Oh, but you have to be at a point of peace.
Yes.
And you'll know when you're there,
Yeah.
because you don't want to write out of your pain and
Mhm.
misery or
No.
your defeated feelings, and
No.
you don't have the end of the story where healing has manifested. And now you're walking into the glory, the grace, the
Yes.
mercy, the forgiveness.
Yes.
In,
Yes.
in those things is when you can be a catalyst of
Yes.
change in someone else's life.
Yes, ma'am. What you just said, I know that the Lord did not allow me to write when I necessarily thought I should write because I was still in the process. He had
Yes,
given me the book and I kept putting it off and putting it off, but I know why now. It wasn't time.
exactly.
By the time I wrote my first book, see, I had forgiven. I had forgiven all the abusers. I had actually had conversations with everyone. And I
Yes,
let them know that I'm not writing to, blame you, to do any of that. But the Lord told me to be transparent and to minister how He kept me through it. Because that was the point of it. The fact that when you hear some stories that some of us have been through, it proves, Miss Joy, that there is a God. Because a lot of us have been through some stuff that we would not be able to talk about it yet enough in our right mind to write about it. And
yes.
so I'm so in love. I'm obsessed with writing at this point. It has been such a blessing. And I really strongly encourage you, if you are watching this tonight and you're not writing and you feel like you should be writing, first of all, get busy writing. I can help you with that. And then Miss Joy can help you by you submitting those books to the Christian Literary Awards. And then you have an opportunity as well to be on her radio show, which I am so excited about coming up, the Review with Joy and Company radio show. I was going to ask you, Miss Joy, as
Yes.
far as participation, what has that looked like in the past for the award show? Do you have people from all over coming out to the award show? This will be my first time, so what should I expect?
Well, I'd like you to expect a grand evening, first class. It is a red carpet, black tie affair.
Yes,
Um, Stellar entertainment. On our 10th anniversary, we were entertained by none other than Jennifer Holliday.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and every year, we have A-list entertainment. Some years well, for the 10th anniversary, there was a sit-down dinner. We're still up in air whether or not our 13th celebration will be a sit-down dinner or not. But there's always cool refreshments, and you get all glammed up Hollywood style
Yeah.
on the Ritz, and we hold back nothing. So it's a beautiful affair because we have authors coming in. They travel from New York City, Maryland.
Mm.
We've had an author come in from London several times. And one year she flew her entire family
Wow.
in from London. And
Yeah.
I was sitting on my hands saying, oh my God, she flew her entire family in from
Yeah.
London. Please let her win something, Lord. Please let her. And
Something. Yes.
lo and behold, that evening she took home 2 awards. So
Oh,
I was
that's
really
amazing.
happy for that, because sometimes people question whether or not we really know who's going to win, and we don't. Our team, we have no clue who's going to win the awards until it is announced that night. So when they get on stage and say, and the nominees are, we're anxiously awaiting, and you'll see and hear us screaming, because sometimes our pick wins and sometimes it doesn't.
That's a blessing.
At least 3 readers from anywhere read your books, and there's a scorecard. They judge the book, and they send the scorecard to an attorney who keeps it under lock and key until the night of the event, when they open that envelope, that magical envelope. So it has all of the tension, the glam, the glitz, and excitement of being on the red carpet for the Dove Awards, the Stella Awards, the NAACP Awards, or the Grammys, And
Yeah.
our award even has its name. Instead of getting Oscar that night, you get the Henry, okay?
Okay. Okay. I love it. I
Yeah,
love
so
it.
it's a first class event. We're excited about it. It's just the way that God showed it to me that night. As a matter of fact, year before last, in
Hmm.
2022, I was in the audience and I grabbed my chest because I said, oh my God, this is the stage I saw that night.
Wow.
11 years ago. This is the stage that was in my dream when God incepted, when He gave me and impregnated me with the idea of the Christian Literary Awards. So
Wow.
it in our 11th celebration that the stage that I saw in that dream or vision, I was actually living that moment. I
Wow.
was I was taken.
Yeah. Confirmation that you were on the right track, doing the right thing. That is amazing.
Yeah.
What do you say to someone who's trying to decide, do I enter my book? Maybe I will, maybe I won't. What do you say to encourage them, Miss Joy?
Enter, because it's not about whether or not you win. You know,
Mhm.
the fact that you did what God told you to do
Yeah.
makes you a winner. The fact that God let you experience something, gave you a vision, gave you a thought, an idea, and you acted upon that and saw this thing into fruition, that alone is worth celebrating. And
Mhm.
I am so happy this day that I
Mhm.
saw those authors in the corner in that huge room.
Mm.
And a sense of compassion, and my heart went out to them, that I
Mhm.
said, God, your people who make the decision to write to glorify God, that's who
Yeah.
we should be celebrating. That's who
Yeah.
we should be lined up to get the autographs of. Not
Yeah.
not and everybody, you have a right to write whatever you want to write. You have a right to read
Right.
whatever you want to read. But God commissioned me, little old bookworm, Joy.
Right.
from Booty, Louisiana. He to
Yeah.
celebrate authors who would dare to step out on faith and do what God called them to do. And I salute you and celebrate you as royally as I can.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Miss Joy, it has been a blessing, an absolute pleasure talking to you tonight. And I know that you have said something that has been a blessing. And I think that we have definitely opened the eyes of some people maybe that didn't know how to do it or what the process was. I know I'm looking forward to it even more now, just hearing you go over the details, hearing you talk about who was there previously. Oh my God, Jennifer. So I'm excited. It is an amazing opportunity. Just the thought at knowing that I, was able to submit my books to the Christian Literary Awards, and that we have the opportunity to be considered in an award show specifically for our field.
Yes,
And that excites me because you understand ministry, you understand passion,
yes,
versus me giving glory to God in a world that does, seldom does, where we would be put at the back of the room with only 5 tables or less. And so I am just so excited for you being obedient. As Candy Usher said a few minutes ago, one of our viewers, she said you were being obedient. And we thank you for being obedient and creating this opportunity for us to be able to submit our work and be considered for nomination. So I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. As we get ready to close, I have 3 words that I would like for you to tell me which word stands out the most for you. That is healing, empowerment, transformation. And tell us why.
Woo, another loaded. You're good at this. What stands out the most for me is transformation.
Mm,
I tell my readers weekly, discover the power
mhm,
of the transformative power of
mhm,
faith-based literature. I
mhm,
encourage them to do that
mhm.
because transforming means that you have renewed your mind. You have changed within, from within. And in
Right,
order for us to change from within, number one, we have to have been empowered by something or someone.
right.
And number two, if we have been broken on
Mm,
any scale, any level, in
mm, mm.
order to receive and to walk in the transformation of it, you have to have received that healing. So
Amen.
transformation stands out to me because it is a sign that it is finished.
Woo! I like it. Woo! It
So
is finished. Woo! I like that.
thing that you did in my life, that you set out to kill, steal, and destroy me.
It is
Those who
finished.
stood in my face as a child and said that
Mm,
I would never be nothing. I was
mm,
just like so and so, and I would not
mm.
amount to anybody. That person
Jesus.
who had the audacity to think that I was trash.
Jesus. Mm,
But wait, there's a Holy Spirit active in my life. There's a God
yes.
who created me and he knew the outcome. And I
Yes.
have been transformed. I have been
Yes.
healed.
Woo! Mm,
I have been
thank you.
empowered. And
Yes.
there is no good thing that my God shall withhold from me.
That is right. You are preaching, Miss Joy. You are preaching.
Nothing.
Yes.
No weapon formed against you shall prosper.
That's
Nothing.
right.
Nothing.
That's
So
right.
yeah, transformation means a lot to me because it means you've gone through, you've survived, and you're
Mm.
walking victory.
Survive. That's it. And going through,
Yeah,
we have to be so careful when we're going through things and we think this is that the Lord is allowing me to go through this. This is the breaking of me. No, sweetheart. No, sir. It is the making of you. And
Yes.
you have just got to transform your mind and get to the other side, because when you fight the fight and you get to the other side, you will understand all of it later, that it was never about you. It was about you being a blessing to the kingdom and being the extension of God to bless other people. So please, 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 Miss Candy Usher said, preach. That's what I said. Miss Joy, you preaching tonight. Miss Candy said, preach. I love it. I love it. I love it. I know that you all have been inspired tonight. Tonight, Miss Joy Lewis has been here. She is the founder of the Christian Literary Awards. We thank her again for her obedience in listening to the Lord and creating this opportunity and this platform. I am honored that she came onto my show tonight. Looking forward to coming on to her show. And again, the Christian Literary Awards. The nominations are open for submissions until January 31st. If you will look into the details of this interview, the links are there. If you want to get in touch with Miss Joy to find out about anything else she's got going on, please reach out to her and she can keep you in the loop with that. What do you have, Miss Joy, for closing words as we come to an end?
You know, I believe, and this is the gospel according to Joy.
Okay.
This is me, that
Yes,
little
ma'am.
whose big sister taught her how to read when she was a little toddler.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody has got at least one good story in them.
Mm-hmm.
Got that little thing that keeps floating here and there in your mind. Write it down, pull it together, call someone like Stephanie or myself, and we'll
Yeah,
walk through the process. We'll
yeah,
help, because we want to hear your story. We want to see
yeah.
you get it in. Because when you write it down, even if it's just if it's your memoir, it
Right.
is wow, it is a legacy for
Mm-hmm.
you and your
Yes, generations.
children,
Yes,
and your children's children's children. When you
yes,
leave a book, that book is there forever to pass
forever.
on from generation to generation. You know, we talk and we learn in our teachings of the word about things like generational curses, but
Right.
let's focus and perpetuate generational blessings,
Blessing.
generational wealth. There's so
Yes.
many good things that we can pass down generational after generation. And I'd like to see us focus on that. Write your story
Yes,
and
ma'am.
leave it.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I didn't when I saw you a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about me and my story. I didn't get a chance to tell you. But this past week my 9-year-old son was just published.
Oh,
Um and I have been working with him for a few months. We literally took about 2 hours, and he laid on my bed as I was at my computer recording him, and I told him, create a story for me. And he has this vivid imagination, and so he laid on the bed and he told me the story about him and his two friends being a superhero, and he went through the whole nine. And so we published his very first book, and I interviewed him on uh Tuesday night. On Tuesday night, I interviewed him here on the platform. He only let me interview him for 10 minutes, Miss Joy. He said only 10 minutes. But he did amazing. But he created a book, and where you're talking about generational. So because the Lord has blessed me now with this talent and this ability, I now know that this is something I can pour into. Not only do I leave for them my legacy with my writings, but I'm giving both of them, my sons, the opportunity that we're going to keep this thing going now that I have this knowledge, this ability, this blessing. And so my 9-year-old has published his first book on last week, called The Unstoppable Trio: Adventures of Metroville.
oh
And
my,
yeah.
he's got to enter the book. We have child authors.
Oh, you do? I didn't know that.
Yes, we do. We have child authors, and let's you and I
Oh,
talk about that off air, okay?
Okay. Well, very good. We will talk about that. If you just stay right there for just a moment, Miss Joy, I am going to see the guests out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again to another amazing episode of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. I will see you back here again on Tuesday night and Thursday night, where we have some more amazing guests that will be coming on. Make sure that you like, tag, and share this episode, because we be blessed and submit yours to the Christian Literary Awards for nomination. And then we also want you to subscribe to the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. Thank you. Be blessed on tonight, and we will see you back on Tuesday.
If you would like to be a guest on the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show, email Stephanie at stephanieMSeatontheauthor@gmail.com.